edition of the Rare Book Cafe Coffee Break Edition. Lee, you got your coffee?
I got something.
And my co-host Linn from Linn Books. And we're glad to have back one of our regulars who's been a bit irregular joining us since we've gone to this new edition. I think this is your first appearance here, MKay Watson.
It is.
Welcome back, Morgantown, West Virginia. I've been following you on Facebook. You've been doing some very creative stuff in your professional life.
Yes, thank you.
And Lee, what about you? What have you been up to this last week?
Well, I'm still, MKay does not know this, I'm still recovering from a fall.
Yeah, your shoulder injury,
Yeah,
right? How's it coming?
It's coming along okay. I have 4 little interior fractures in the soft part of the bone that have to heal for about 2 months before they can decide if they're going to repair a tear. We're hoping maybe physical therapy will take care of that. But no, I'm doing okay. I've been negotiating for a collection that I'm not sure I'm going to get, but we're trying anyway. And
good.
Attending theater camp with my grandchildren.
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago we had had that Ezra Pound little collection that I had?
Yes.
I sold it to Yale. Yale bought it for
Did
the
you?
collection.
How wonderful.
That was exciting.
Right.
It's always good to have something put in the Beinecke.
Yeah. Especially with your new adventures coming up.
Yeah, I'm kind of winding down here. We'll talk about that in another episode. By the way, folks, in September, I'm heading to Verona, Italy to study book binding and book repair. So if you're going to find yourself on the lower boot of the continent, come on by. I got a free room for you. But anyways, more importantly, our guest, MKay Watson, you're going to talk to us today about a 15th century book. 15th century, that means the 1400s. That means sometimes in the first 50 years of printing, otherwise known as incunables, incunabula. How would you pronounce it, MKay?
I don't know. I'll just go with what you. I'm from West Virginia.
We'll call it an incunable. I think, calling it as an objective of a preposition and incunable. But if you're just holding it up as an object, I like to say incunabula.
Sounds good.
All right, take
Are
it
you
away.
I think you're practicing for Italy.
Yes, I recently gave part of my collection to WVU Library, around 300 books that I had. A lot of Margaret Armstrong, a lot of publishers' trade bindings, and just a nice eclectic collection. I also, in that collection, had a lot of physics first edition books that I've been collecting over the years. Libraries don't, get a lot of money to buy books. So those books, the physics will go directly into the lending library, not the rare book.
Very good. And that's to the University of West Virginia?
Yes, West Virginia University.
WVU, West Virginia. You're right there in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Yes.
Go Ears.
Oh, you train well. Anyway, when I got in touch with the library, and I did this because Lowell Thing gave his collection of Margaret Armstrong books to the library, and it was over 300 books. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's inspirational. I can actually make sure that my books get where I want them to go, and I've always wanted my collection to go to WVU. I'm not ready to give up my entire collection, but I pulled out around 300 books and said, I want to give these now. And got in touch with Stuart Klein at the university. She is the curator of the Rare Book Room, and she was more than happy to come over to the house and look at my collection. And they came again one day, her and her friend Paula. Paula works for the university, and they packed them up and took them to the university. WVU has 3 rare book rooms. They have several other rooms where they store books before they can go through them. They have a book room at the law library, at the downtown main library, and then there's the library over where the hospital is in the Evansdale campus. The book, I went to see her at the library, at the Rare Book Room, I wanted her, she did the preface for Lowell Thing's book about Margaret Armstrong, and I wanted her to sign it. And I wanted to meet her. We met. She showed me some books in the rare book room. And the book I'm going to talk about today is one of the books that she had laying out. And if you want to go ahead and just bring that picture up so everyone can see it up close. This is a 15th century book that was used by probably everyone in a church, all of the choir members. It is ½ inch, maybe almost 3/4 inch solid oak boards with leather over top. And you can see it's got beautiful iron ornate corner fixtures.
Oh, yeah.
At one time it had straps. The straps have, of course, rotted and come off. But you can see at the bottom where the straps would have attached.
Sure.
Yeah.
Down there where the iron is. And you can see this has iron feet on it. The book is huge. It's probably 2 feet by maybe, I don't know, 14 inches or so. It's got, and I don't have a picture of that, but it's got this gorgeous binding on the other side where it's been put together, and then the leather has been formed over those.
I imagine it got a lot of usage.
Yes, yes. It was used on a daily basis.
Sure, sure.
Now, the next picture. So this is just a close-up of one of the pages. The writing, the beautiful ornate drawing, and the notes, the music notes. The music notes would have been done probably with a square-tipped quill pen. In the monasteries, they did, of course, all of this beautiful work. I doubt that this would have been any kind of a metal-tipped pen. It was probably a square-tipped quill pen. The pages are actually calfskin, and each double page is one calfskin. If the next picture might be able, so this page right here, all of these pictures are more or less the same things with notes and lines and beautiful ornate lettering. And they would have known these songs. They would have sang them daily probably. But if you notice, this page is very white. So these pages, one side is very white, one side is kind of yellowish, and that's because the calfskin on one side, the inside of the calfskin would have been very white, and the outside where the hair was, would have been a darker color. I can't remember how many pages are in this book, but that's how many calfskins they used to make this book. And it would have taken.
And Mary Kay, we have a word for that, rubrification, or rubricate, when you make the first initial in a line or the first letter in a paragraph. And usually it's red. That's why the ruby, the root word of red, is used for rubricating. As in this, what is this, an I, this I?
Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that. But they're beautiful ornate letters, aren't they? And actually, the form of art that I teach, called Zentangle, these little scrolly things and these lines, this is all stuff that I teach in my drawing whenever I'm teaching. But again, this would have been done with one of those quill pens. And well, it's a reed, not a feather quill. I need to make that clear. It would
not an animal quill.
No, it would have been sometimes they used bone for these pens, but I imagine that this has probably been done with a wooden quill,
mm-hmm.
or a wooden reed. I'm sorry, a reed, R-E-E-D, and
right.
Because it was cheaper. There were a lot of monks that were doing these ornaments and these drawings, and the notes definitely were done with the reed. And you can see where some of the black has faded off. It's a very old book. Now in the next picture, let's see what.
Yeah, the red has maintained its color just amazingly.
It's just gorgeous. You can see on this page, this would have been the outside of the skin. this page, and what
A
they
little
did,
browner.
yes, it's a little
Yeah.
browner, and they would have, you know, the way we sew signatures together, that's how these pages would have been put together. You know, they would have taken a full skin, they would have folded it in half, and then those would have been put together, sewn together. But again, the ornate letter, it's just beautiful. And the fact that they used calf skin to make this book, it took probably years to get a few of these pages because, you know, medieval times, it wasn't a time where things flourished. So it would have taken some time to have made this book. So this book was very important. On the next picture, yes, there's one of the A's without the, one of the letters without the red.
Ooh,
That's gorgeous, isn't it?
absolutely.
I mean, the monks were just so talented. And again, here's more of the, probably the front page. And what I think is interesting about this is that sometime later, after, you know, this book has been around for centuries, someone has done some writing. If you can make
Yeah,
some
you can see that.
beautiful, yeah, beautiful calligraphy down there at the bottom. So this book was probably in use for a very long time. And I don't remember how the university acquired this book. It was probably a purchase. WVU has over 10,000 books. They have actually, they've got the second largest Isaac Asimov collection in the country. The first largest
How about
is
that?
actually the Isaac Asimov Museum. So, and in October, WVU does a Asimov symposium every year. Yeah.
Well, that's something we're going to have to look more into and maybe even broadcast from that show in October.
That would be a great idea. Yeah. I think that the rest of the pictures that I have are probably similar to these. She laid out a few. Yes, this is a book that she laid out. This is she put out a lot of the beautiful botany books because I love botany books and nature books, and this was one of them. But what was interesting about this book is that it was a donation, and it had been in somebody's basement, and some of the pages were damaged, but it did not take away from the book. It was just amazing looking at that book. I definitely want to get up to the university and do that interview with Stuart in the future so that she can talk more about this. She's much more knowledgeable than I am about it.
I'd like to go a little bit tangential here, offer a couple of comments. First of all, university libraries are very welcoming, and most major university libraries have some sort of rare book collection. I know here in Oregon, almost every university does, and I have visited several of them, and they're very welcoming that you may have to make an appointment to go in to see these wonderful treasures. Along that, I've noticed that recently university libraries have been putting their staff and their staff email on their open website. It used to be a big secret, especially for us booksellers. Do you know anybody at Yale who might be interested? But now because of their funding, they're kind of opening up to the world and say, hey, come talk to us. You know, it's a wonderful part of the library world is university rare books.
And also, if when you can access those staff lists, which I've also done, even if you don't get the right one, they will frequently forward you to somebody else, and are very, very helpful. And I'm sure a lot of the staff are looking toward, ooh, maybe this is somebody that we'll get a donation from at some point, like your 300 books. But they spend a little money too. And it surprises me sometimes what the libraries buy. For example, I sold a copy of the Cherokee Land Lottery when Cherokee lands in Georgia were parceled out to white settlers through a lottery in the early 1800s before the death time of the removal, to the University of Wisconsin. Which seemed a strange coupling to me. And they're fun to deal with. And I've also found that a lot of people who are associated with, particularly with the rare book rooms and libraries, tend to stay there for a while and really have a career of it, that they're not somebody who's just kind of passing through. Because I know some libraries that I've dealt with the same person for 15 years.
Well, one thing that I want to point out is that when Stuart Klein took over the Rare Book Room at WVU, she turned it into a teaching library. So she does not, those books don't stay in there and just collect dust.
Yeah.
She has students that come in and she teaches from those books. She teaches from the book I just showed you. There's other books that, all the books. She teaches from them, which is, that's new. That's not traditionally what rare book rooms were for. Rare book rooms were, you made appointments and you went in and they pulled out the books that you wanted to see and you wore gloves and they don't do that at WVU. The gloves do more damage than
than clean hands.
And actually, one thing I just want to make a note of: when I went to the rare book room, I took all my nail polish off because nail polish can actually come off. I know from drawing, nail polish will come off on rough paper.
If
you're wearing
I never take my nail polish off.
Well, it's just lovely on you. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
But the fact that she uses it as a teaching room, the rare book room is a teaching tool there, and she actually teaches students from the rare book room. That's, I think, is just wonderful. And as far as libraries having a lot of money, WVU is a Pac-10 school, and a lot of the money goes to the sports. So there actually isn't a lot of money in university libraries, depending on what the university is.
We need to start a sport called competitive reading.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But,
Mary Kay, we need you to come back and talk about Margaret Atwood. Do you think you can do that for us?
Margaret Armstrong?
Margaret Armstrong.
That's okay.
She could probably talk about Margaret Atwood too.
We could probably.
I could. Yes, I would love to, but I'm actually, really wanting Stuart to do that because she's quite the expert. Yeah, she's.
All right. Well, then we would love you to come back and talk about what you've been doing. I've been seeing you on Facebook. I'm going to call it, for the lack of another word, initial illustration, where you make these fabulous illustrations, signalizing the initial, either initial or the initial subject of the page that you're on.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay. Lee, we are up to 78 viewers on Instagram now. We're growing our audience back.
We're not getting a lot of comments, so all of you out there who are watching, please at least just say where you're watching from, or what your interest is, or what your favorite show was, or what we could do in the future. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, what would you like to hear us yakety yak about?
And if you'd like to if you have a specific interest that you would like to come on Rare Book Cafe and talk about, get in touch.
Always
with us
open to new guests, especially our listeners.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that's it for another week of the Rare Book Cafe Coffee Break Edition. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can find links to us on Instagram as Rare Book Cafe TV. Wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is, go pick up a book and sit down and settle in. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Lee. Bye, Mary Kay.
Bye.